Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's the biggest, one of the most insidious lies that we could have ever told children, ever. Because words do hurt. Words can shape our future. Words can breathe life into us. And words can take the air right out of our lungs. Question: how many of us are walking graves of unrealized dreams because of something somebody told you? Compounded with the significance of who it came from. How many ideas, how many inventions that would have revolutionized the world are lost because it stays trapped in a discouraged mind? What have we missed because somebody gave up right in the middle of a trial, right before their breakthrough was supposed to happen, all because they needed somebody to say, keep going. I got you. You got this. It's awful. Researchers from multiple universities, including Harvard and Stanford, share that discouraging words just don't affect us in the moment, but what they do is they train and literally rewire your brain for delay, avoidance, and procrastination. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. One word away, the transformative art of encouragement. My name is Toby Gaddison, and welcome to my TED Talk. It's interesting that the same word that we use to describe the structure of how we speak is the exact same word that contains the time length of somebody's incarceration, and that's called a sentence. Words in a sentence can either be our captor or it can be our liberator. Words can either be the judge that condemns us or the judge that sets us free. So if you see this little handsome picture on your left-hand side, that's me. When I was young, I wanted to be an R&B singer. I wanted to sing, as you can clearly see. I listened to everything, and I think, to my knowledge, I developed a pretty good voice. By the time high school came along, I was sitting right next to what I thought was the most beautiful girl in the world besides my wife, but that was high school cutie. For weeks, we did the whole note-taking exchange. Do you like me? Yes or no? Check the box out and the whole nine. I would sing just loud enough that she can hear me, and she'd be mine. She'd be enthralled, and the deal would be done. The day came, my song was ready. The noise from the other students provided the perfect cover. The moment was perfect, and I started singing my favorite Stevie Wonder song. Nobody at that age sings Stevie Wonder. My game was smooth. As I started to sing my heart out, she looks up at me with the most amazing smile, and she turns to me and she goes, "Ill." In that moment, my heart sank, stomach sank to the floor, my face flooded with shame, and my R&B dreams were dashed. It was over with. And this is not just my experience, that a million different people go through this the same way. And what it is that one discouraging comment is what neuroscientists call a threat pathway or your brain's alarm system. And so now, when anytime that I want to sing, or even to this day, or even later on, now that I want to sing, what happens is my neural system or your neurological system triggers the exact same area, that exact same fear center that lets you know or makes you think that you are in physical danger. And this is how a discouraging word can create behavioral prisons that look like procrastination, perfectionism, and settling for less. It's diabolical, it's insidious. And here are the three ways that I feel that are the most common. Number one is perfection as protection. We all know perfectionists. Now, in this world of perfectionism, it's a psychological trick that people use to convince themselves that if they are flawless, that they are made safe. How? Because they've learned early on that mistakes just aren't mistakes. They come equipped with consequence and condemnation and critique and shame and rejection and fear of failure. So what happens is that they believe that they have to be flawless, but it's delusional because the pursuit of perfection or the pursuit of success comes with failure. But when you learn that your trying or your failure comes with punishment, then you're afraid to try. Or you feel like that perfection, nobody has anything to say. But have you read the comment section? Or the flip side of perfection as a protection is that we stay in a constant state of development and that thing that you're working on never gets out. It stays perpetual because you believe that once it gets out, if it's not perfect enough, then you've learned early on in your development that not being perfect comes with ridicule. It comes with a parental person or a teacher withholding their love for you because it becomes performance-based. And so now that thing that you're working on, it keeps revolving and it never gets out. It never sees the light of day and you're scared to even try. How many people right now have a project or a thing that they're working on that hasn't been completed yet? Let me see your hands. Wow. Wow. That book that you were supposed to write, that job you were supposed to change. See, what happens is when we learn that there could be a potential punishment for development that keeps us from the specific tasks that needs to happen to be able to complete that task, to be able to complete that job, to be able to complete that dream and see it all the way to fruition. So we avoid the phone call. We avoid being able to learn. We avoid all of these things, which is crazy because, again, on the pathway to success, they tell you that it comes with failure, that you have to be accustomed to failure. But when you're a child under this constant stress, your brain is out of whack. They say that the amygdala, SAT word, which is the fear center of your brain, becomes underdeveloped as a child. So you don't learn how to handle the stress. It never gets dealt with. Or the prefrontal cortex, another SAT word, is also impaired and also disrupted. And that's the CEO portion of your brain that handles time management, planning, task initiation, and completion. And so when those little things are disrupted in your mind, they don't get completed. And then last but not least, the disrupted executive function. Now, this deals with your day-to-day tasks, the phone calls that you need to make, the endless to-do list that you have. It's our fear, it's our reticence of getting those things done that hinder us. And it's encouragement that we never really received as a child that keeps us in this forever loop. So how do we overcome these things? How do we encourage each other? What is transformative about encouragement? I figured out there was one of three ways. Number one, believe that anybody can be anything. It takes a certain vision. It takes a certain empathy to see somebody in a way that they don't quite see themselves. And when you see that potential, you have to speak life to that potential. Anybody can be anything, even if you don't see it. If they see it, you take their worldview of themselves and you speak life to that thing, because we never know when we might need them. We are all in this life inextricably linked to each other. Your success is dependent on my success, and my success is dependent on your success, however you define it. Number two, understand the crumbs. What does that mean? If it's in the crumb, it's in the cake. If there's milk, eggs, and flour in the cake, then there's milk, eggs, and flowers in the crumb. What does that mean? If you see a crumb of potential, a crumb of talent, a crumb of effort, again, speak life to that crumb. If the person that you're dealing with can take one step, they can take two. And if they can take two steps, they can take three. And it's your job to speak life, to that thing so that they can be the best that they can be. Because when was the last time you were encouraged? Which brings me to number 3, time travel. When we're encouraging one another. When were you at your lowest? And what was said to you to bring you out of that pit? What was it that made you get to the next day? What set of words brought you there? Remember what that feels like, and then you give that to somebody else. Number 3, encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. What is your inner dialogue? What are you telling yourself? A lot of times, the things that we hear in our minds, like, you're no good, this isn't going to work out, you're not qualified, you're not this, you're not that, is not your voice at all. What it is it's a recording of learned trauma from somebody in your past that gets rehearsed in your mind over and over and over again. And you identify with those self-defeating words and those self-defeating thoughts, and it becomes a living prophecy lived out into your life. How do you stop those negative thoughts? You give yourself an encouraging word. Words will immediately stop a thought. So when you have a negative thought or a negative word that you're saying to yourself, interrupt it with a positive word and encourage yourself. The second way, incremental encouragement. Celebrate your small wins. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You'll do yourself a disservice if you only celebrate the big wins. If you celebrate the small wins, it will condition your mind for momentum and success, the little things. Because the little things make up the big things. And those big things, well, that's what we want in the first place. But if you celebrate the little things, the incremental encouragement, it gets your mind in the habit of gratitude. It gets your mind in the habit of releasing those serotonins and those dopamine chemicals that do two things when you are down and out as it relates to encouragement. It makes you feel better and it helps you think clearly. That's what encouragement does. That's why people self-medicate, because they want to do two things. They want to feel better so that they can think clearly. It's just done synthetically. Last but not least, self-compassion. Please, people, be good to yourself. Do not treat yourself as the enemy. You are not your own enemy. Treat yourself with love and treat yourself with the compassion that you want other people to treat you with as well. So, in closing, what I will say is encouragement is the fuel that breeds confidence. It's confidence that helps you realize your dreams. It's confidence that helps you encourage somebody else. And it's confidence that helps you encourage yourself. Because if we don't empower each other, we oppress each other by default. Thank you.